Alrighty, so what's up, everybody? Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Let's Talk Bulls podcast. My name is Cory. So we're gonna get straight to it today. This is talking about the possibility that Zion Williamson could be traded to the Chicago Bulls. This is just a hypothetical. I'm not saying that this is actually gonna happen. Me personally, I believe that it would be a good trade. My only concern with this is, of course, it's just Zion's health status. So when you look at his games played since he's came into the NBA, unfortunately, he hasn't played in many games. So he came into the NBA his first season, only 24 games played. Second season, 61. Third, 29. Fourth season, he was, thankfully, he was healthy. You know, he played 70 games, which in today's day and age in the NBA, 70 games is that's a good amount of games played. You know, so many players sit out because of load management and things like that. So 70 games, that's pretty solid. Last year, only 30 games played, you know, so that's definitely a concern. But one thing that you can say about Zion Williamson, despite his health concerns and all the other things that he's involved in, is that when he's on the court, he's one of the most proficient players in the whole NBA. You know, he's one of the rare back to the basket players. He's got a little bit of a dribble. You know, he's got a little, his jump shot needs a little bit of improvement, but he's very proficient. You know that he's going to get you at least 25 points, about 10 rebounds, 5 assists. So he's pretty solid when it comes to that. When it comes to putting up numbers, you know, he's one of the strongest players in the league, if not the strongest player in the whole entire NBA. So you know that he can bring that to the table, you know, and when I feel like when he is performing well, when he's playing a lot of games like he did that one season, the 70 games, his team had a lot of success. Now, unfortunately, once he became injured that season, his team kind of went downhill a little bit, you know, so they didn't go too far in the playoffs, and that's unfortunate. I would love to see a healthy Zion Williamson in the playoffs and see how far he can take his team, because personally I believe that he can either take his team, he can take this current New Orleans Pelicans team that he's on right now, if he's healthy and he's got his head on straight and all those good things, he's not distracted by, you know, his outside life outside of the NBA. Me personally, I think that the New Orleans Pelicans ceiling is like the Western Conference Finals. That's what I believe. If he can be healthy, if CJ McCollum can be totally healthy, Alvarado, I know that DeJounte Murray, he's had some recent injury concerns as well. But if they can be healthy with Zion Williamson leading them and being that proficient, I believe that New Orleans Pelicans, even though they're in the West, which is a really challenging conference, I believe that, you know, they have a very high ceiling. But at the same time, because of Zion Williamson's lack of played games and his other things that he's got going on outside of basketball, I think a change of scenery would be good for Zion Williamson. In particular, coming to Chicago, possibly, that would be nice. Again, I know it's just a hypothetical, but I think he would flourish even more in Chicago. You know, it's a fresh start. It's a big city. It's a big market. So he would come from New Orleans, which is a small market NBA team, to Chicago, which is one of the bigger market teams in the whole entire NBA. So great player, great strength. I know you guys seen the highlight of him last year. He get the breakaway dunk. You know, he take it and just 360 windmill, and it's like, man, just seeing that athleticism, seeing that strength. And I know that there's always rumors about his health, you know, his lack of controlling his diet, and I don't know if that's true or not. I take health very seriously, so I don't joke around with it. I know people joke about his health and maybe he's eating too much food out there in New Orleans and stuff like that. But to me, it's really no joking matter. You know, health is a big concern. I hope the best health for everybody. You know, I hope that Zion can be healthy, and I hope that if he does have some eating issues, that he can get those under control, because he has great potential. One of the strongest players in the league, one of the most athletic, if not the most athletic in the league, especially at his size. Like I said, you guys seen the 360 windmill last year. You know, it's like, woo-wee. Man, you don't see players that size moving like that. You know what I'm saying? So I think that put away all the doubts that he can't be healthy. I think that his health is just more so associated with, with sprains and injury, like bodily injuries, versus him just not controlling his weight or not controlling what he's eating. I think that that's more so like a rumor. I don't know how you can really prove that, but I think his injuries and his lack of played games is just due to just unfortunate things happening to him. I can't name all of his injuries, but it's unfortunate that he's been so he's played in not so many games throughout his NBA career so far. So I think him coming to Chicago will be good. I think that we definitely need a star player, as you guys can see in one of my other podcast episodes here. You check that out. I think it was the first episode that I did, where I talked about how the Bulls need a star player, because I know that we have a star on this team. It's either Buzelis, it's Giddey, it could possibly be Coby White. It may be Patrick Williams. I know that that's a long shot with Patrick Williams. I know a lot of people are disappointed in him and things like that, and I get it. But anyway, when you think about the possible trade packages that the Bulls could offer, so these are just a couple of them here. Maybe there's some other scenarios that I'm not thinking about or I'm not aware of. But just on the surface here, the Bulls may want to consider a package of Patrick Williams, Vucevic, and a first-round pick. So I believe that those contracts match up. Zion Williamson, he's not making like, I forget exactly what he's making, but I think that Patrick Williams and Vucevic, I think that their contracts together come pretty close to what Zion Williamson is getting paid per season. So I would be willing to do that trade. I don't know about you guys. Feel free to chime in and let me know. Will Vucevic, first-round draft pick for Zion Williamson. Hey, I would do it. And also another trade package, Coby White. And by the way, I mean, he's coming into his free agent year. So if he chooses to sign with another team, which is totally up to him, coming up this upcoming offseason in 2026, you would hate to lose Coby White for nothing. So, hey, you could possibly package Coby White, another expiring contract that the Bulls have, another first-round pick for Zion Williamson. I would do that trade too. Me personally, I would definitely do that trade, to get Zion Williamson in here. I think that he would be a good pairing with Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey can move the ball to him. Also with Buzelis, so with Zion, I think Zion on the Bulls, I think that give it two years or so, especially if Zion Williamson is healthy, I think that we can be contenders. And then also with the continued improvement of Buzelis and all of our other young pieces that we have on the team, Giddey and whoever else is left on the roster, if we were to even do this trade, hey, I think the sky's the limit for us, And then also with the Bulls, I forgot to mention this in one of my prior videos, we have a solid team. I just think that our only issue is that we don't have a lot of star power. We have a lot of supporting, we have a lot of good supporting players, so we have a lot of solid players like Kevin Huerter. We have Isaac Okoro now from the Cleveland Cavaliers. We have Jalen Smith. He's solid. He didn't really have the best season last year, but probably just a down season. I understand he's coming from Indiana. It's his first season in Chicago. So I just chalk it up to that, So then we also have Julian Phillips still on the team. Patrick Williams, say what you will about him, but we still have Patrick Williams on the team. Who else am I forgetting here? We have the rookie Noah Esenge. So we have a lot of supporting pieces on our team. Which is really good. It gives us more depth, to be able to depend on those players to play throughout the game rather than depend on the same 8 or 9 players. So I think that our team can definitely have depth. It's just that our only issue is that we don't really have star players like that. I mean, I think that Buzelis is going to eventually be that. I think that Giddey can be that as well. But, that's going to come with time. Now with Zion Williamson, like that. Okay, that's a star. He definitely has the potential to be a superstar if he can prevent the injuries and just get his social life together and all of those types of things. He can be a superstar player. I feel like the sky's the limit. It's not too many players in this league that can stop Zion. It's not too many players in this league that have a back to the basket game. Zion, if you notice with Zion Williamson, he can post you up. He can bring you out a little bit. He's not really a three-point shooter and things like that, but he can bring you out a little bit, shoot a little decent little jump shot, drive around you. He's got a little bit of a dribble. Hey, he's a great inside and out player. He won't take up too much space in the lane. He won't take the ball too much either. He's not like a ball dominant player like that. He can move the ball. He's got a little bit of a passing skill set. So I think it would be a great trade. I think it would be a great start for him. I think Zion would flourish in the city of Chicago. I think the city of Chicago would love to have a player like Zion Williamson. But now I will say this. You would hate for us to get Zion and then he continues to not play in that many games, 30, 40 games, or, the whole social thing, his social life and his personal life and things like that, get him into trouble or affect his play on the court. You would hate for those things to persist. And then now you look back at it some years later, like, wow, we gave up these assets. We gave up Coby White or Patrick Williams or Vucevic or a first round pick or whatever, for Zion Williamson. I can see that too. So it's always that part of it, So the pro is, I think that Zion Williamson would benefit from a change of scenery. I think that he would do better in a big city market like Chicago. But then the cons is, hey, if the injuries persist, which would be totally unfortunate. I know that they're out of his control to a certain extent. I don't know exactly why they're happening, but if the injuries were to persist, and things like that, then hey, I could see that being a big mess, in the coming years, and it would put the Bulls in a tough situation, for years to come. So, but overall, I think it would be a great trade. Let me take a look at my notes here. I think it's something else that I'm forgetting to mention, Let's see. Yeah, so that's basically about it, So I think it would be a great trade if he came to us. Let me know what you guys think. Also, shout out to a couple of my subscribers here. Shout out to Gary Speed, and also shout out to Woodage84. I believe that's how you say your name here, Woodage. So thank you guys for subscribing. Other people who are subscribed, for some reason I can't see everybody who's subscribed to my channel. Maybe it just didn't upload yet. Maybe I just can't see it yet for some odd reason. But thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you guys for checking out this latest episode of Let's Talk Bulls podcast. Stay tuned for more episodes. I try to upload at least a couple days out the week. Let's see what happens. Let's see what continues to happen throughout this NBA offseason with the Bulls. I'm hoping for the best. Will we trade somebody? Let's see. I'm hearing that the Bulls are possibly waiting for to see what Zion Williamson's situation is in New Orleans. Do they want to continue to build around him? Do they want to let him go and just start over? Do they want to let some pieces on their team go and start over? So, hey, it's just a lot of hearsay right now. But with time, we'll know the facts. But we'll see. So, thank you guys again for checking this out. Have a great day.